The Pacific mist still clung to Evan Rourke's boots as he stepped out of the cab in front of his coastal Oregon home. After 14 months stationed abroad in a covert cyber ops mission, too classified to speak of all he wanted was to wrap his arms around his 8-year-old daughter and 10-year-old son and sit beside his wife on the porch they built together. But something was off. The welcome home banner he'd imagined was missing. The porch light was off. New patio furniture sat where the old rocking chairs had been. A slick black Tesla was parked where his wife Kara's Subaru used to be. He tried his key, it didn't work. Confused, he knocked, gripping the carved wooden puzzles he'd brought from Prague for the kids. The door creaked open. Kara stood there, no joy, no tears, just annoyance. Behind her, a broad-shouldered man in Lululemon joggers lounged on Evan's old recliner. The kids peeked around the corner, hesitant. Daddy whispered. Zoe, the man gently pushed Zach back and said, "Go upstairs, kids." Grown-up stuff. They obeyed. Evan's voice was tight-controlled from years of training. "What's going on, Kara?" She gave a smile that didn't reach her eyes, disappeared into the house, then came back and shoved a plastic storage bin into his arms, his military gear carelessly tossed inside. "We've moved on," she said flatly. "The kids call Troy Dad now. You can sign the divorce papers tomorrow." Troy, a local fitness influencer with a surgically perfect smile, smirked. "Your deployment was the best thing that ever happened to Kara and the kids," he said. Evan's eyes flicked from Kara to the man, then to the papers in her hand. "You have no idea what you just started," he said quietly. Troy laughed. "What are you going to do, soldier boy? Post a sad TikTok? I train senators. My cousin's the judge assigned to your case. These kids won't remember your name by Christmas." Evan said nothing. He picked up his gear, turned, and walked toward his truck. As he drove into the darkness, he made a call. His voice was calm. "Raven, this is Warden. Protocol 9. Activate immediately." On the other end, silence. "Then copy that." "Are you sure they took my family?" Evan replied. "They picked the wrong man. He wasn't broken. He was calculating." 12 hours after Evan Rourke left the house, Troy Maddox got a call at his luxury real estate office in downtown Portland. As he listened, his complexion drained. "Who the hell are you?" he barked into the phone. "How could you?" a distorted voice interrupted calmly, playing an audio file. It was a recording of Troy negotiating a land development deal with a Middle Eastern investor, clearly detailing how they'd bypass EPA guidelines using shell companies. The voice continued listing the names of Troy's offshore accounts, their balances, and the routing details of several suspicious transactions. "Your cousin's sealed judicial ethics files are quite the read, too," the voice added, "especially the ones involving underage plea deals and suppressed evidence." Troy dropped the phone. "That guy, that soldier," he muttered, panic rising in his chest. He raced to Kara's house, finding her in tears. "He's taking the kids," she cried, waving court documents. "Emergency custody hearing. Tomorrow. Judge Simmons, not Judge Maddox." "That's impossible," Troy growled. "My cousin controls family court assignments." "Not anymore," Kara said. "Has been suspended pending an ethics investigation." The next morning they arrived at the Multnomah County Courthouse. Evan was already waiting, composed and unreadable, standing beside a sharply dressed woman in a navy suit and military posture. "Nancy Whitfield," she said, extending a firm handshake. "Mr. Rourke's attorney." Kara blinked. What she didn't know, Nancy was a former JAG officer who had worked alongside Evan during covert custody retrieval operations abroad. She was known in D.C. as the Ghost Advocate. Judge Simmons entered, flipping through the file with growing unease. "Mrs. Rourke," he said, looking over his glasses, "this court has received verified communications showing you denied your husband all contact with his children while he was deployed. You told them he abandoned them. You introduced them to an unvetted partner who now exerts parental authority." "That's not true," Kara snapped. The judge continued. "We have your texts instructing Mr. Rourke not to call again because, quote, "The kids have a new dad now." Witness statements from neighbors confirm Mr. Maddox's overnight stays. School records show significant declines in the children's academic and emotional health following these events. Troy leaned forward. "Your Honor, my cousin Mr. Maddox," the judge cut him off, voice like steel. "Your presence here is already inappropriate. Mentioning a familial relationship with a suspended judge might be considered an attempt to improperly influence these proceedings. Say another word, and I will hold you in contempt." He granted Evan temporary full custody. Kara would receive supervised visitation pending further review. Outside, as they exited the courthouse, Troy grabbed Evan's arm. "This isn't over. You know who I am." Evan met his gaze with a level calm. "The real question is, Troy, do you know who I am?" That night, Troy's carefully curated world began to disintegrate. The Securities and Exchange Commission announced an investigation into Maddox Land and Holdings. His corporate login was revoked. His Amex Platinum card got declined at his gym. Local news sites published his photo alongside headlines about illegal evictions and shady land deals. Kara, meanwhile, found her nursing license under review, her bank accounts frozen, and a lien placed on her car. They fought back. Troy tried to pull strings. Kara filed claims accusing Evan of PTSD-related instability. They hired a private investigator to dig into Evan's background. The PI vanished for 3 days. When he returned, he handed over his retainer and quietly moved to Idaho. 2 weeks later, Troy got another call. "Stop," Evan's voice said flatly. Or what Troy hissed. "I release everything, not just the shell companies, the footage from Lake Tahoe, the texts to the congressman's daughter, everything." Troy didn't reply. He knew what came next. Troy swallowed hard. "What do you want from me?" Simple Evan said. "Walk away. Leave my kids alone, permanently." Troy nodded, defeated, but the moment the line went dead, he called Kara. "We've got to hit back harder. Dig up something, anything we can use." What neither of them realized was that every message, every phone call, and every whisper of their plan was already under surveillance. Evan wasn't just on the defense, he was collecting receipts. Kara thought she'd found a weapon-flagged medical records hinting at Evan undergoing psychiatric evaluations during his last deployment. She and Troy saw it as their golden ticket to paint him as mentally unfit for custody. The night before the final hearing, they toasted their looming victory in Troy's downtown penthouse. That illusion ended when the doorbell rang. A courier delivered a plain package, inside a USB drive. Curious and cocky, Troy inserted it into his laptop. The screen flashed black, then a simple white message appeared: "You should have stopped." Then the videos began. Troy shaking hands with known money launderers. Judge Maddox's cousin accepting cash in a brown envelope. Kara caught on security footage, pilfering prescription meds from the hospital's storage room. Everything time-stamped, cross-referenced, labeled. The final video hit hardest hidden footage from that night filmed inside the penthouse minutes earlier. Someone had been watching them in real time. Troy's hands trembled as his phone rang. "Who the hell are you?" he rasped. "You still don't understand," Evan said calmly. "I don't just gather intelligence. I architect outcomes." He explained evenly that the entire file had already been distributed to federal prosecutors, the State Ethics Board, the Oregon Nursing Commission, and to multiple news outlets, each with a scheduled publish time 24 hours from now. "Unless," Troy asked, voice brittle. "Unless Kara signs over full parental rights," Evan said. "You resign from Maddox Development and leave Oregon. Your cousin announces early retirement. And both of you cut off all contact with my children. Permanently." Kara exploded. "You can't do this. You did this," Evan said coldly. "You threw away everything I gave you. Now you live with it." "You'll poison the kids against me," she snapped. No, he said. They'll never know. As far as they'll understand, you chose another life. I won't tell them. I don't need to. Your actions already have. By morning it was done. Kara, pale and silent, signed away her rights in a county clerk's office. Her nursing license was revoked within a week. Troy resigned and vanished to the East Coast. Judge Maddox cited health reasons in a surprise retirement announcement. Within a month, they were all ghosts. 3 months later, Evan sat across from General Talbot in a quiet D.C. office. Was it worth it? Talbot asked, steepling his fingers. They're safe, Evan replied. That's all that matters. And the methods, the general asked quietly. The surveillance. The blackmail Evan's voice was calm, unshaken. They went after my kids. I didn't start it. I finished it. You destroyed them. Evan shook his head. No, sir. I gave them the exact consequences their actions earned. They made the mistake of betraying someone who sees betrayal as a puzzle to solve. And I solve problems. Later that evening, as twilight painted the Portland skyline, Evan dialed his twins on speaker. Hey, monsters, what's the move for dinner tonight? Their excited voices bounced through the car speakers as Evan smiled genuinely for the first time in months. The storm had passed. His home was whole again. His children were safe. And the people who had tried to destroy him, they had learned what it meant to underestimate a man who lived his life preparing for betrayal, who responded not with rage, but with flawless execution. A protector, a strategist, a father who did not forget.